working in the UK. Because I didn't have experience working in the UK or the US, I was struggling to get a job in UK with the experience that I had in India. And it took me like a couple of years to get a job here. And then once I got it, I started off as a retail test analyst with a leading betting and gaming company, Ladbrokes. And then the life was getting mundane. I was just in software testing, doing my job. It was not giving me the job satisfaction. So I decided this is not my path, and I was looking for some other opportunity. And that's when I got this opportunity to work as a project manager for one of the projects. And after that, my career changed. So I found my path, and that's when I decided this is my path. Project management is my thing, and I'm going to stick to it. So since then, it's been over 7 to 8 years now. I've been in project management, and the career has been great. And really, my life has taken a different level. So, and I'm happy as a person. So if you love what you do, you are really and you're making more money, you're happy, and your life is great. So this is my story. This is my career story, and I would really, with this story, I would really like to help people, motivate them to get into their dream job, whether it's tech industry or especially when people want to come from different arenas into tech industry. So that's my story. If we can move to the next slide, Veronica. So yeah, as Veronica said, I would like to give you an introduction about what project management is. I know all of you who have joined this session today are interested to become a project manager in future. So I would like to give you an introduction as to what a project is, what is project management, and what are we talking about here when I say project management life cycle. What are we really talking about? So with respect to uh, any industry, a project is a temporary endeavor that is undertaken to change the process within the organization, or to get in a new product within the organization to enhance their business. So this is what we call a project. And managing the activities to actually deliver this project is project management. And when we say project management life cycle, it's really the different phases uh, which we go through for this project delivery. So I'll give you a brief about what these different phases are. So the first phase for any project management life cycle is the initiate one, wherein you actually understand what your customers want, what your stakeholders want, what the business want, and you create a business requirement document. And then comes the next phase, which is analyzing whether whether you will actually be able to deliver on these requirements, bring in all these products, make those process changes, or whatever the requirements are. So that's your analysis phase. And then comes the planning phase, as to once you've understood what you want, what you're going to deliver, then whether you have the resources to deliver, whether you have the money, and what is the timeline, how long it's going to take for you to deliver. So all this comes into the planning phase. And once you've planned everything, then you start executing it. And it has to be done under a controlled environment. So this is where you, like, while executing it, you make sure you're tracking it using various documents like your raid logs, your action logs, making sure that everything is going on track. And then finally, you deploy or you deliver it. That's the delivery phase, your implementation phase, and you hand over that to a team which will be maintaining it after that. And then that particular piece of work becomes a BAU, business as usual. So this is the whole life cycle. This is what a project is. And this is what is project management, managing all these activities. And these are the different phases within that management life cycle. I hope it made sense to you all.
Please feel free to type in any questions in the chat, which we will take towards the end. So if you've got any questions as we're going through, please just make sure that you put it in the chat. Thank you.
So the next thing that I want to talk about is stakeholder management. So stakeholder management is one of the key management activities within project management, because we need to understand whom we are interacting with and what they actually bring in as part of the project. What is their role? What is the responsibility for that project? So this is why it's one of the key important things within project management. So what does it actually entail? What does it include? Part of the stakeholder management is, first of all, we identify who are all going to be involved as part of this project and what is their role. And then, so that's where the assessment comes in. We understand the roles and responsibilities of that particular person, and we plan how we are going to communicate with those people. So if, for example, we identify that our business owner needs communication, like he needs a weekly update or a daily update. So we communicate with them on a daily basis or weekly basis accordingly. So this is all part of stakeholder management. We also create something called RACI matrix just to document, and everybody is aware that these are the different people involved in the project, and these are their responsibilities, their role, and that this is how we are going to communicate with them. And this is all what they need to know about this project. So this is what these steps actually tell you. Identify the stakeholder, assess what their roles and responsibilities are, plan how you're going to communicate with them, and then act on it. Hope that's clear. Let's go into the next slide, which is talking mainly about the deliverables and the documents that we create as part of project management at different levels, different phases. As we mentioned before, we have initiate, analyze, plan, execute, control, and implementation phase. So we create, so as you can see on the slide, we create all of these documents, starting with the project mandate, project brief, business requirements document, the dashboards. So we use different tools like some people use Jira, some people use Smartsheet, different tools available which can be used. And these are the different like we create project plans and raid logs and action logs, all these different documents for our own, for managing that project and making sure we are documenting what needs to be delivered and whether we are actually delivering it. We have the code changes, the code that is developed, the implementation packages, and we have to test all those what we have developed. So we have testing phase wherein we go through to create test cases, test scenarios, and test those software packages. So in brief, what we have to deliver is the initial project initiation document, the business case, the requirements document, the RAID logs, stakeholder engagement plan, the project plan. The project plan will include all of your stakeholder engagement plan, communication plan, deployment plan, training documents, everything that you are going to present as part of that project. This could be different for different projects. This slide mainly talks about if it is a software project, what are the documents related to that. So if we move to the next slide, Veronica.
I was actually thinking that maybe we can take questions just in case. Some people are thinking about it now. So if you've got
Okay,
anything
sure.
based on what's been discussed now, actually you can unmute yourself and ask if you want to find out maybe more about the project deliverables that Kush just mentioned and the documents that you would require as a project manager. If you want to know anything about that, please type in the chat if you don't want to talk, or you can actually unmute yourself and ask any specific questions. So we can, I think it'll be good to deal with the questions as we go along. Okay, so there's a question here. Somebody says, do I necessarily need tech to be a project manager? Do you want to answer that? Hi, Kush. Have we lost Kush? Hi, Kush, can you hear me? Right. Can you still hear me?
Okay, so
okay.
Project management. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah,
but I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but it seemed as though it went off. But yeah, go ahead.
Is everyone able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hope everyone else can. But yeah, go on. Hi, Kush, we can hear you. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got that question. So basically, it's again based on what you are interested in. So project management, or I would even say we will cover that in the later slides. Project management office is one of the easiest way to get into tech industry. So because it is based on core soft skills that you have. Again, if it is your thing, if you are a people's person, if you like to be organized, if you like managing budget, managing time and managing resources, then project management is your thing. But this is not the only way that you can get into tech industry. There are other ways, like you can become a business analyst, software tester. So there are other ways to get into tech industry as well. But project management office is one of the easiest ways to get into tech industry, because it's a very generic role. It's not just in tech industry. It's anywhere you go, any industry requires a project manager, a manager who will manage all the work within the company, who will manage resources, who will be doing scheduling. So it's a very generic role across industries.
Thanks for that. So in simple terms, no, you do not need to have a technical background to get into project management, because you can be a project manager in different domains, as it were. So you can actually get started without a technical background. And we'll talk about that in more detail. But just to also caveat that as you grow, stepping into that field may not require a technical background, but as you progress through, you may find that you begin to develop interest in, some technical aspect, and you can pick up those as you go on, on the job. So there's a lot of on-the-job skills and experience that you pick up. But for you to get in, you don't need a technical background to start off as a project manager, because guess what? You can actually become a project manager in a non-techie project or a non-tech industry, as it were. So like Kusha said, and we're going to talk more about, the skills and what project management really is about. It's not about writing code. It's not about, understanding computer programming and things like that. So there are majorly soft skills that would really help you to be a successful project manager. And we will show you, I'll talk more about that. So I'll just move on to the next slide. We'll come back to questions later on, just because we are conscious of time. But if you have any questions, keep popping them in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. Yeah, so the next slide actually talks about what we do for reporting, tracking purposes, what are the documents that we need. So this mainly is related to project monitoring, controlling, and progress tracking. So the reports that we create, like stage gate reports, and also the reports at various like work package levels. So all these reports can be created in Excel. There are we can also create dashboards using Jira, which is one of the uh, prominent tools that is used in this field. And also we create PowerPoint slides for reports, like status reports, weekly status reports that we can create. And sometimes we do create daily reports in emails, even that is, so it all depends on what your organization wants and what is the governance process that has been set up by the organization, and what kind of documents they like to see. So that's about the trackers and reports. Yeah, so this slide actually talks more in detail about the daily and action logs that we have, the different raid logs, risk assumptions, um, issues and dependencies, and the stage reports, checkpoint reports, status reports, steerco, PowerPoint presentations, lessons learned. So I'd like to give you a, a bit of information about lessons learned. So every project, once we complete the project, or sometimes even at the checkpoint gate level, we do kind of a retrospective meeting, like a meeting wherein we go back and analyze what we have done so far, whether we are going on the right track, what are the lessons that we can learn from what we didn't do right, or what we have done right. So all those kind of things are logged. It can be a simple Excel sheet where you can log it and say, okay, this is what went right with this project, and this is what didn't go as we wanted it to go. So all these kind of things are logged within the lessons learned log. So the weekly status reports has some details like a rack status, whether the project is red, amber, green, in which status, the milestones, what we have achieved so far against the plan, the key activities that are upcoming, and whether we are on track for the budget. So, and also if we need to highlight any of the risks and issues that we have, or we need to escalate anything to the project board, we do that as part of the weekly status report. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, so I know we talked about so many things like phases, the different documentations and different activities that we do within all those spaces, but what is it generally like? How is it like when you go into office on a day? What are the activities that a project manager does? Basically, the key or very basic activities in a day is you log into your system and check your emails, check your meetings, how's the day gonna go, is there any actions pending with you or any of your teammates or project team, and see whether those activities have been completed, whether your project budget is on track, whether you have completed your daily log, action log, whether you have, so you go into the meetings and make sure the meetings are completed or finished with an outcome, and you have actions to follow up with, you follow up that, and you update the necessary logs and raid logs, budget trackers. If you have any specific tools for tracking your budget, make sure that is updated. So this is what a day in a project manager's life is like. And when it comes to end of the week, you do your weekly status report meeting. And if you have any, you look ahead, like say, for example, today is Monday, and then make sure what your diary looks like until Friday. And if you have to schedule any meetings for the later in the week, then you do that, and you prepare for any of the senior management meetings that's upcoming within that month or in a couple of weeks. You make sure you do that. So it's just being organized, making sure what is coming in a couple of days, and you just don't look at the day. You also look into the future and plan for things ahead. So that is what the life of the project manager is really.
Thank you for that. So I would like to go back to some questions, if that's okay. So quickly, there's one that says PMO, Project Management Officer. I'm not sure. Is PMO the same as project coordinator? Not really, but then it depends again. Kushi can answer as well. It also
Yeah.
depends on the organization, the governance, and because sometimes you might have the title of a PMO, and that would include project coordinating as well. So it really, really depends. But they're quite similar, I would say. Although in some instances, the project management, so PMO is just project management or program management office. And so if you are the PMO analyst, you may or may not be at the strategic level. So sometimes you might be looking after several projects if you're, of course, at the portfolio or program level. And so, of course, that means, you are a bit more senior, as it were. And so, whereas with a project coordinator, you might just be handling things like organizing meetings on behalf of some projects, maybe putting together maybe like a board pack, so you are doing a lot of administrative activities, as it were. So it really depends, quite frankly, even though really and truly they should be distinct. But what you find in real life is that some organizations will give you one title, and you find yourself doing more, wearing several hats. And so you might find yourself, being a PMO officer or a PMO analyst, but then you are also getting involved in project coordinating, doing all the administrative bits, or you might actually be a project coordinator, and basically all you're doing is managing diaries, scheduling meetings, putting together board pack on behalf, and just supporting projects and ensuring that they're adhering to the governance and policies that have been set out by the PMO and things like that. So it really varies, to be quite honest. So I don't know if Kush wants to actually dive in on that question as well.
Yeah, sure, Veronica. So it really depends on the organization. As Veronica rightly said, project coordinator is more like doing mostly scheduling activities and ensuring all the documents are organized, and organizing and scheduling is the key activities of a project coordinator. But again, how the organization wants to present that role and what responsibility they decide for that particular role, it all depends on organization. And the PMO is a general term, and they are mainly responsible for establishing the governance strategies for the organization. And again, the PMO could be a group of people, and or it could be a single person doing that. So it all depends on the organization. But yeah, I think Veronica has covered most of the points there regarding this.
Okay, so thank you for that question. Next question says, are all these documents listed required to complete a project, or is it depending on field? Do you want to answer that? That's a good question. The documents we shared earlier. So do you need, as a PM, do you need all these documents to complete a project?
So I would say there are key documents that are mandatory to be completed. But again, how extensively you want to do this, that again depends on the governance structure that the organization has created. Some people, some organizations don't do daily status reports. They really require only weekly and monthly status reports. But then the key documents that are absolutely necessary for project management is your project mandate or brief, your initiation document, which will include your business case, requirements, high level requirements, and the resource and budget involved. And also what is required is a plan. Project plan is key, it's mandatory, and your raid logs. So these are key. Whether you create action logs, daily status reports, that's up to you. Some people prefer some project managers prefer creating action logs. Some organizations mandate it, but then it really depends on what the organization, what the governance structure that has been set up by the organization.
Great. So thank you. Finally, do you really have to be Prince2 certified to get started, or is it just an advantage? Let me just quickly chime in on that one. I would say, first of all, it's an advantage because I've worked with people who have gotten jobs without the certification, but we always advise because it gives you an edge. When you have Prince2, just for project management, of course, there are other certifications you would require for other areas. But for project management, we always advise that you at least have that basic Prince2 foundation to start off. That's not to say that's what will give you the job, but if you got that on your CV, it gives you an edge. It makes you credible in the eyes of the recruiter or the hiring manager or the organization that is looking to hire you. Because of course, if you have gone through that Prince2 certification, so you would have prepared. And so it also helps you to pick up the initial background and knowledge of project management principles, as it were. So we always advise that you get certified. Now, I must say that for us in the program, we have people who join without the certification at first, but we advise them that as you're going through the program, get a certification so that by the time you're ready to get your CV out there, you have that, and it will definitely open doors for you. So it's an advantage. It's not mandatory, but it will definitely give you an edge. Okay. So I don't know, Kush, do you want to chime in quickly on that as well?
Yeah, I agree with you, Veronica, on this. So when I was looking for job, Prince2 Foundation used to be a mandatory one. Like the CV were not getting picked up if you didn't have the Prince2 Foundation. But then these days, it
has
is
changed.
just an advantage. It just gives you an added value. That's it.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, let's move quickly on. Thank you. Keep your questions coming and we will pick them up as we go. So, Kush, do we want to, now we're going to go a bit practical. I think we're doing well for time. So do you want to just cover this? So everybody get your pen and your paper and get your thinking hats on or caps on, because like we promised, this is going to be interactive. We can't do the breakout rooms because of time, but we would like you to engage, would like you to turn on your mic and engage with this one. So Kush, do you want to just drive this one, please? We can't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And can you guys confirm that you can see the screen? I know it's a bit tiny, if you can read it, but Kush, do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it out and then you talk about it, or how, or are you happy to just read it through the context?
I can just read it through, not a problem, Veronica.
That's fine. Cool, thank you.
So this is just an example that we are going to give you. It's a project, and it's really going to narrate what we are looking for, and we would like you to actually understand this and let us know what that project scenario is, who are the stakeholders, and what are the main issues that we are trying to address here as part of this project. So I'm going to slowly read this through so that you can understand it. And we will give you a few minutes just to take this all in, um, give it another read through, and then answer our questions. So let me start. Central Services has been growing exponentially over the past few years. Jane Smith built the company from scratch, beginning out of her car and basement to an enterprise with 18, $18 million and in billings last year alone, 150 employees. Central Services is a company that provides telephonic support to companies without their own organic computer system help desk structure. It concentrates on being able to handle hardware, LAN, and software application matters. The company provides support with a team of 10 to 20 people available at a time to cover any type of question. A well-rounded screener answers the phone and then turns the caller over to someone with the correct expertise for the particular problem. Sometimes several experts are called into a conference together to help the caller. This system has been in place for about 5 years. Central Services has contracts with about 300 companies of various sizes to provide this support and is leading an active marketing effort to add new companies. At present, the Central Services has outgrown its office space. The company can stay put and triple up people in offices, wait 18 months until some extra floors of the office building become available, move to a nearby location, or perhaps even move to the next county. Everyone seems to have different idea of what would be best, which they vigorously debate in the kitchen as they heat up their lunches or get coffee. Finally, President Jane Smith makes a decision. Central Services will move to a new office space 10 blocks away. You were hired 6 months ago as an assistant project manager and have spent the past few months getting acclimatized by shadowing more experienced project managers and learning company procedures. Needless to say, you are keen to get started. When you hear about the move, you suggest to Peter Chad, your boss, and Central Services head of facilities that you manage the project. Joe, who was among the first 10 people hired at the Central Services and once worked in the president's basement, is a little hesitant but decides to give you the chance. As you savor the upcoming challenge, you start thinking about a few things that make you nervous. You know you must minimize Central Services downtime because everyone is busy enough as it is. Although Central Services is moving less than 2 miles away, many employees walk their children to the next door childcare facility or enjoy the nearby restaurants and fitness club. They would rather not move at all. The president is concerned that the new office reflects the image of a successful company on the way to the top. The new place needs to look classy, but of course, she is also worried about the effect of the move on the company's profits. You have always assisted project managers before. This is your first time being in charge. So this is the scenario. Hope you got the gist of it. So we'll give you a few minutes. You can read through it again. And then we have 3 simple questions for you to answer.
I'm going to I'll copy this and put it on the WhatsApp group or maybe on here just in case. So we'll give you about 5 minutes to read that. I will talk about, of course, we will tell you the answer, but we want you to think like a project manager. So just read it through quickly and we will discuss that shortly. For those on the WhatsApp group, I have posted it again. Emmanuel, Trev, can you please copy this and put it in the chat quickly, just in case somebody needs to remind themselves of what it is. It's a long one, I know, But this is not to trip you or anything. It's just to get you thinking like a PM. So if you're in the WhatsApp group, you can quickly have a scan through before we post it on here. And I just copy that now. In about 2 minutes or so, we will ask you the question. So can you give me a thumbs up if I can have a permission to? It's been recorded, so, oh, brilliant, thanks for that. It's been recorded. Somebody says, because I'll be going to work in half an hour. We will finish shortly. It's been recorded. Let me see, Sulaiman, and we'll share this probably before end of day today. So don't worry. But if you want to record it, it's fine. It's fine. So that's the text in there. So try and read that through. And what's the time? I'm just conscious of time. In about a minute, will ask you what your first initial thoughts are in light of project management. Okay. So I think this would be good to actually get voices talking. Kush, do we want to go with the first question? And let's get people unmuting and just talk about what are your thoughts?
I was thinking if anybody is interested to answer the first question. If not, then I can start with.
Yeah, no. I mean the first question. Yeah, let's open that up.
Yeah. So the first question is, what is the project in this scenario?
Sorry, hi, my name is Aya. The project would that be relocation?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Any other answers?
Thanks for that, Ayo. Any other comments on that?
I would say the justification or the need for the relocation is that the officers has grown its space. So that's the need for the project to relocate.
Okay, that's two.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, my name is Martin Sokekayode. I want to say that it's actually an expansion project.
Okay. An expansion is quite broad in its sense, but yeah, we'll come to it. That's fine. Thank you guys. Thanks. Okay, Olashere, I see your hand. Please go ahead. What are your thoughts?
The project here would be adding new companies to the business case and also a new office space.
Cool, good stuff. Okay, that's question one. So do we want to talk, Kush, do you want to talk about let's respond to question one and then we'll look at question two. Do we do it that way?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So yes, as you have all rightly pointed out, it is expansion, like adding more companies to this. And because of that, central services won't be able to accommodate everybody in this old office. And that's why they need to relocate to a new office. So that is our scenario. So basically, the company is expanding, they need more space, and they are relocating. So they're planning to relocate or find more space within that same building. That's the scenario here.
So well done. Okay, I'm not going into too much detail because of time. So the second question is, can you identify the key stakeholders in this scenario? Just reading through, who would you think? So please, before, unmute yourself and let's have your thoughts or your comments on that. Who do you think the key stakeholders are in this scenario? Because as a PM, you need to obviously identify your stakeholders so you can manage them accordingly. So who would you say the key stakeholders are?
Hi, I think James Smith is one of the main stakeholders here.
Okay, noted. Thanks for that. Any more?
The employees.
Yep, of course.
The customers as well.
Good stuff. Yep. Thanks for that.
The service providers too are stakeholders in this case. The service providers in terms of providers of hardwares, softwares, and or most probably the providers of furnitures and also probably the real estate agents that has to provide the office space that may be customized for the expansion needed.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks for that. Lashere, I see your hand. Go ahead.
The stakeholders would be the clients, the colleagues at work, the community most especially, and even the
I like
children.
that. Can I hold you off quickly? Talk about the community. Why do you think they will be key stakeholders? Just that's really is interesting.
Yeah, because the new office space. Okay, take for instance, let's start with the employees. The employees and their children, they have kids, whom they put in childcare houses. When they go on lunch, they go to nearby restaurants and also a fitness club. The community is a major stakeholder because where the new office space would be, it has to be environmentally friendly. And that's why I would even prefer option 2 of staying in the same building and waiting 18 months. Because if you're going to move from one office space, even if it's nearby, IT has to do with a lot of wiring. You're going to be a lot of wiring from the building. You're going to be removing a lot of things from the building, and this could cause disruptions in network service.
I love that.
So
I love that.
Move up a couple of floors, and we're good to go.
I love that because you, as a PM, right there, you can actually push back. So it's one thing. I like that. I like where that thinking is going. Push. So as a PM, you have to be able to sometimes push back, sometimes renegotiate with that business or that organization that has obviously asked you, given you a mandate for something. You could actually come back and say, right, okay, I've carried out a feasibility study. So that is one area when you're a part of your project initiation, sometimes you may require a feasibility. So you as a PM, all that you've just mentioned is really around feasibility. And by the time you carry that out and you present it to the organization to say, okay, here is a business case why I think we really should reconsider moving now. And when you do that, you come across as a valuable, employee, and that could make the organization to take a pause to say, oh, okay, let's reevaluate this, and take that on. So that is project management right there, and I like that angle that you took. Sorry, say that again.
And most especially cost, primarily cost.
Exactly. So as a PM,
new office would be more expensive, definitely, than moving up floors.
Maybe, yeah, I like that. So that is you adding value. So you're already helping the business to save costs. And of course, that would be any business that is saving costs will be smiling at you as a project manager. Okay, let's move quickly.
Can I go on and say something, please?
Yeah, go on, please. Yes.
Yes, as for me, I think moving the business, it's a good idea, and staying back might also cost the business a lot, because if the space on its own cannot just occupy the business itself and the people inside, by staying there might cost the business a lot, because what they need to actualize with that space they might not get it. And staying there also in the long run can cause a lot of defective image of the business, because they will be spending, in my own opinion, they will be spending more on the little space they are using at the moment. But if they move the business, it will give room for different functional departments within the business to also come up and to also emerge. So in my own opinion, I think moving the business to another space entirely would do a lot for them. Because if you look at the cost implication of staying in that place, it might cost them a lot. And also moving to has its own cost implication, but I bet it in the long run, maybe in short on the long run, most important in the long run, it will be beneficial to them than staying there for another 18 months, my opinion.
Amazing, amazing. I love that. I love these two angles, and that is you thinking on your feet right there
Yeah,
as a
and also
PM.
statistical analysis.
Sorry.
Hi,
Yeah,
I
go
would
on.
like to support the second speaker as
Okay.
well, in the sense that I know the first speaker was about cost,
Yeah.
but when you think about cost, you think about the long-term cost.
Definitely.
Is
Yeah.
it cost effective on a long term or
Mhm.
on a short term? And as a project manager, I would think of the long-term cost
Okay.
more than the short-term cost.
Okay.
And at the same time, as a project manager, I can understand my stakeholders. There's something called change management. People don't like changes. I can understand that. Well, I want to sit down and put all the stakeholders, give them the reason why this change is necessary, why mitigate any issues around, in the sense of my team, if they the employers, I will consider. Some of the employers might say, oh, the office will be so far from home. We have family runs, we have school runs. We understand that. I will try and give a reason to mitigate all these issues and give them support. Change management is very, very understandable, and that is why emotional intelligence is important in project management. You have to understand your stakeholders and you have to know what to do to them at a particular. I agree with the second speaker.
Great stuff. So you sound like you're already training us. Who was that? Well,
my name is Bash.
Okay, I thought I recognized your voice. That's why. Okay, because of time, we're going to move quickly. Somebody wanted to say something quickly. Who was that? I had a voice. No.
Yeah, actually, I do. My name is Nuruddin Quadri.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah. So, I'm just thinking, and I wanted to ask, because it seems as though a decision about what will be done had been taken,
exactly.
by CEO. So I was thinking, to what extent does a PM, to what extent decision has been taken, I believe a PM job should be to deliver that, isn't it? To what extent is it best practice, or not, for PMs to then get involved, to sort of sway the decision, after it has been taken?
Good question. I'll come on.
I like that. That's really good.
That?
That's
yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear all your points. You're bang on actually. The point. PM is not a decision maker. Okay, and it is the whole of the project team, and ultimately it's the project board who decides. So PM is just a facilitator. He is the leader who runs the project. Yes, of course, they are here to present all the different angles. So whether it's going to be beneficial for the organization, they have to put all the points on the table, both pros and cons of a particular project. And it's ultimately on the project board, on the sponsor to decide which route they want to take. So yeah, it was really good point that has been highlighted in the end. Yeah. But as others said, it is the PM's responsibility to actually analyze all the different pros and cons of a project and help the project board or the sponsor make that decision.
Yeah, final decision lies with project board, but the PM can, prefer options really and put all of that together. But of course, the final call lies with the project board.
So at this point, the decision has been made to move, right?
It does sound,
so we're moving forward from this decision and managing all the risks and all the different stakeholders with their different situations.
Yeah, exactly. But we wanted to get your thoughts. Okay, finally, because of time. So the third one is, what are the main issues that you need to address this project? So I like the fact that, yes, we have actually agreed that, yes, we have passed, the pre-initiation stage, so that the decision has been made. And now the project, of course, has been initiated or kickstarted that. So it's now PM, come and drive this. So what are the main issues that you would need to address in this project? Please unmute yourself. What are the main issues that as a PM you would probably need to highlight to the project board, which would need addressing? That's final. What's the time? Yes, we are.
Hi.
Build.
Will cost be one of them? Cost on time?
Like to inquire here. Issues. Cost is a given because for any project, you of course need to have budgets and all of that. Yeah. So I'm
What
just
about the time? Would time be the issue? Okay. So do you mean like risk or?
So issues are like what should they think about what's happening that could be potential what do you call it, blocker, or could affect things. Is what issues are. So what do you think they need to
I
address?
think one would be to minimize downtime.
Okay.
Another would be to help employees manage their childcare services and maybe provide a mitigation just to reduce the burden on the employees.
During the so it's still around change management. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, okay, Olashere, go on. Thank you for that, Bash. Because of time. Hi, go on, Olashere. I see your hand. We can't hear you. Okay, cool. Kush, do you want to dive in quickly? Let's cover this up so we can move.
So as you guys have rightly pointed out, the current.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Quickly. Yes.
I've got like 2 or 3 major issues here. Fine, we all agree we're moving up to a new office space, a new location. The first issue would be the time taken in setting up the new office, all the hardware, the land, the cables, everything. The second issue would be, are we going to outsource the business because we're moving? And the third would be the clients, which you might lose. Since we have over 300 clients plus and we're trying to add more, moving to a new office space, are we sure we're not going to lose some clients, or are we going to outsource the business, which obviously would cost more?
Yeah, all valid points. I'm not too sure about the time though. The time is actually we know that time is given, time and cost is given because we are moving to the new office. But then the key is losing potential customers, existing customers because of change of location, losing employees because of change of location. As you rightly pointed out, the daycare facilities are not there. Some employees might not be comfortable going to the new location. They were happy here. So those kind of things are the key issues in this scenario. And yeah, so the new customers, new location, losing existing customers who won't be agreeing to that new location, or probably it's not comfortable for them, those kind of things.
Okay, so because of time, we probably would have talked about how do you mitigate or, and all of that. But we're going to have to leave it here, guys, because we have under an hour and we still have a few. But we just wanted to have this creative juices flowing, because really as a PM, these are sort of things that you find yourself having to deal with. So I think a couple of things that have come out here, that the PM is not a key decision maker. Although sometimes, depending on if it's a small organization, the PM might be quite at the strategic level and may be part of the board that makes the final decision. Some organizations like to work that way, but I think most times standard practice is that the PM just sort of facilitates, drives, but the key decision really sits with the board. So that's one thing that we've mentioned, so we need to agree on here. So the PM manages, controls, drives the project from end to end, and of course, that's not to say that you can't carry out a feasibility study and present. So you're doing that to help the steering board or stakeholder to actually make an informed decision. So yes, they are key decision makers, but you can add, your angle, of course, based on research analysis that you would have done that will support that decision that they make finally, even though you're not the key decision maker. Just a few points to note there. So well done. Thank you very much, all of you that participated. And so we will just be moving quickly to the next. Now, Kush, you want to quickly talk about skills required in project management? I put a link there which I can open, but because of time, this is just LinkedIn Career Explorer. So you can actually go and Google that. LinkedIn is the biggest social media platform when it comes to all things career, transition, career advancement, and all of that. So you can use this tool and it will give you a breakdown of what skills or competencies and all of that that you require to become a project manager. So Kush, just run that through quickly and then
Yeah.
we move on.
So the key skills that you require for project management, as we said, you need the leadership qualities, assertiveness, conflict management, stakeholder management, time and resource management. So all these kind of things. But some of the key soft skills that will really come in handy is organizing skills, scheduling skills, communication, facilitation, planning in general, time management, budget management, and these are the key skills that you require. And these are, like, as I mentioned, the key advantage of project management is your skill set is soft skill. It's based on soft skills and it's quite generic role across industries. So these are the key skills for project management. And on top of it, if you have technical skills related to your domain, say, for example, manufacturing industry, healthcare, hospitality, e-commerce, packaging, anything. So if you have specific technical skills as well, then that is added value.
Yeah, just let me chime in on that one. So I talk a lot about leveraging transferable skills. And so I get people asking, one, somebody said, do I need to be technical? No, you don't. So Kush has already mentioned here that soft skills are very, very, very crucial when you're getting into project management because you should be a people person. So we talked about stakeholder management. You're constantly working and engaging with different stakeholders across different levels and different functions. And so if you're somebody that is, you're very comfortable engaging and managing people, driving, organizing, sort of managing budget and events and things like that. So if you already have that, maybe from your current role and what you've done before, then you are well on your way because you already have those skills. And these skills potentially can be transferable even into a project management role within the tech space. So like we always will say, the tech is the industry. So it's not really, that's why you don't need a technical background, because within tech, you have different functions. So not everybody in each, let's use the big 5 companies, you have the FANG companies, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Facebook, Amazon, what's it called again? Apple, Netflix, yeah, and Google, sorry. So the big 5 tech companies. So within those companies, it's not just everybody is not technical. So you've got, of course, technical writers, you have people that did the software developers, the people that do all of those technical bits. But then there is also the people that would need to help them go to market. So if you have that sales background already, you can bring that on and, into a project management role within any of these big tech companies. And so that's why we say that you don't have to be technical, in order for you to break into tech as a project manager, as a business analyst, and other non-technical areas. So I always advise that maybe try going in from the non-technical areas. Then as you progress, if you think you've got a flair for the technical bit and the maybe more specialist areas, you can start looking at developing, the skill that is required, maybe do some certification and all of that. But getting in does not require a technical background. These skills are soft skills, anybody, and it cuts across different fields. Just one to note. And so leveraging transferable skills, this is what we do when we're reviewing CVs within our academy. So people they start some customer service, some sales, different domains, and they come in and we say, what do you have? And we kind of look at how we can identify those transferable skills, and that is presented on your CV. So it's how you present it is packaging, let me use those words, that would then say, okay, I want to apply for a job in Google as a project manager. Yes, I don't have that initial, knowledge about how their software and all of that works, but I've got something that I'm bringing on as a PM, and you use that to market, you use that to sell yourself, when you're going for that interview. So it's all around how you present yourself, how your CV looks, how your cover letter looks, and that's something that, we normally support with. So you don't need a technical background to get into project management. Okay, Kush. So let's talk about stepping stones. So what are the other support function areas that could actually help you to get into project management? This is a question we get all the time. So do you want to talk about that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Veronica. So, so I mentioned this briefly earlier, that the stepping stone to become project manager is really getting into project management office, becoming a project coordinator or an administrator, project support officer or PMO analyst kind of roles, because they are really based on these core soft skills that we just spoke about: your communication, your presentation, your negotiation, organization skills. So these are the roles that could be the stepping stone before you actually manage a whole full-fledged project, like whether it's in a proper technical tech industry or any other core industry within the IT department. So that's why we've listed this could be the easy way into project management for you if you already don't have the technical background. And it's not mandatory to be a technical project manager, because there is difference between a technical project manager and a project manager. So a lot of organizations these days have a business project manager, and then we also have project managers in the core level, in technical project managers. So there are different kind of roles that we can explore. But really, if you think, oh, I don't want to take that big step going into project management, I want to get a flair for it before, then probably you could take some of these roles, which could act as a stepping stone before you take that big leap.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Any questions popping in the chat? Okay, so just talking about now, this is, I think, I'm not sure how recent this is, but in case you're like, right, why should I even bother? What are the opportunities? Now, this is just an example of what you can actually earn at entry level. So if you want to look at permanent, it could be 40 to 60K. Contract roles 350 to 450 per day, depends sometimes on demonstrable skills that you have. And some of the skills could come from your transferable skills, like we already mentioned. So you don't have to start from the scratch. So people ask me that question all the time. They're maybe worried. They want to make that career change, but they're like, oh goodness, if I have to get into a completely new field, am I going to start from the scratch? And I say no, because you definitely have skills already that can be or may be transferable. It's just for you to do your research, to identify, and then you lead with the value that you are bringing to that organization. And then they can see that, okay, you're not going to start at ground entry level because you already have something. I give you an example of, I think, one of the ladies that she hadn't worked in the UK before, came from Africa, but she had an MBA. She had done some projects before in Africa and all of that, but she joined the program. Now she has 3 offers, and the way we packaged her CV is really leading with the experience and the skill set that she already had. So that was something that we actually used to leverage, and that was on her CV to say, right, okay, this is my first rodeo. In this case, I think she was looking to get into business analysis. I've never done that before, but I got this and that. So it's really around how you are able to present yourself. So we did that on the CV, and of course, plus the program, being on our program, she picked up, a mastery of those skills, terms, that you require, and went for the interview. So she had a contract role, I think, offering her 380 or so, and then the permanent one was, I think, between 400 and 440 to 50K for entry level. So you don't have to start from the ground, even though this is your first attempt at getting into this field. That's what we're saying. But it obviously starts from how you are able to package and present yourself. And so right now she's trying to choose. I think she's made a decision and she's starting next week, but she didn't have that background and she didn't need to start from the ground. So you don't need to start from entry level. It's just how you're able to present yourself. So potentially these are opportunities that you will get as a project manager. Sometimes you can actually get even higher than that. It just depends on how you are able to put yourself together and able to demonstrate that you can bring value to that organization, that you know what you're doing, that you can do this. And pretty much the rest they say is history. So a few success stories for you. We'll be going down the line now. Now I will go behind the scenes in a minute. So a lot of these people that I'm going to talk to you about came on no technical background whatsoever, but they just got to a point where they wanted that change, and then they joined the program. And Helen, as an example, had 2 offers in that same week, and she had to choose. I think she actually went with the 2 because these days, because of that remote working, and people are doing 2 jobs these days, at least in the UK, and she went with the 2 until she felt like, okay, she couldn't combine both. But you see, the opportunities obviously are endless. Esther, on the other hand, was in care for 15 years with a mom of 4, single mom of 4, really struggling to make ends meet in the UK. But then she got onto the program and she rolled up her sleeve, put in the work. Right now, she's a high flyer, a project manager within one of the universities in the UK. And she's a contractor, I think, on 380 or something a day starting out, so it is what the point, the reason we're sharing this is to tell you that it is possible even without a technical background. A lot of you are like, I don't have relevant experience, but these ladies have done it. Amanda, on the other hand, was a teacher for 8 years, but she got to a point where she had had enough because she just felt, I don't have a life. I spent hours marking scripts and all of that, and she wanted a change, and she got into the program and was on the program for a few months. And she also started out as a contractor within one of the UK universities. And now she has been working with Accenture, one of the big ones in consulting. And these people had no background in tech at all. Ade, a guy who was in sales tech, so he was involved in selling. No, I was talking about tech being the industry, but there are different functions and different areas. So he was really selling the software, not being part of actually developing and delivering, that software. But he wanted that, and he wanted to become a business analyst. Joined our program in a few months. He's a high flyer now. I think now with Barclays. So I'm going to pause now and see if there are any questions before we go behind the scenes. Thank you, Kush, for that.
Thank you, Veronica.
So
Thanks,
we're still
everyone,
on. We're still
for
on.
listening patiently to me.
Thank you. We're still on. Any questions? If not, I will stop sharing and I will go behind the scenes because we promised we're going to do that. We're doing well for time. That's great. So a few of the projects we have. So that exercise is just a little sneak pick from what I think one of our cohorts, what they went through, because we normally would go through an initial theoretical aspect, training you just to get you, to get a good understanding of what project management entails. We have our training pack. You go through that. And once you have finished that, you then go on to our live projects. At the moment, on the screen here is a list of 6 projects in flight, and these are not dummy projects, they're real life projects. So we have the CRM implementation, which a group, they're obviously helping us to implement a new customer relationship management application for us. And then there is GDPR. GDPR is just General Data Protection Regulation, a compliance project. One of the offers that the lady I was talking about got was a GDPR business analyst, and that was because she worked on one of our GDPR compliance projects. And so, of course, that was reflected on her CV, and that gave her the offer. We also have what we call the learning management system replatforming. So that is another project that is in flight. the website revamp, and we also have an external client. So we do internal projects and external client projects. Now, this is for a property tech enterprise replatforming. That project is coming to an end. We've been on that project for nearly 6 months. And so everyone that has worked on that project, they are now working on their CVs and they'll be ready to start applying for jobs. So this is just a list of the projects that we have. But before we talk about what we will be offering you if you decide to join us, because we said all of this just to say that we would really like to invite you. Of course, we believe that you're here because you want to make that, you want to become a project manager. A lot of you have put it in the chat, and we will tell you how we can help you make that happen. But just before that, I'm going to go behind the scenes. So now, one thing that you enjoy when you get onto our program, you have access to our tools. So we have templates. So for instance, a project, once it's initiated, we don't leave you to go and figure it out yourself. So we have what we call a PMO framework. We have tools, we have templates to guide all projects. And so that the projects are not struggling, we just have that guide, and we have internal team members that we support each project, okay? So I'm just gonna go now and I'll show you one of our project management applications that we use so you can get a sense of what behind the scenes look like. So I'm gonna stop sharing that screen. And please, if you've got any questions at all as we get to the, okay, let me, so I'm just going to show you. So now tell me in the chat box, for those, I think some of you are already familiar with project management, and so you might know some tools. Can you pop in the chat any of the project management tools or softwares that you have heard about, that you know about? Can you pop that in the chat for me while I go on to show you behind the scenes? Pop it in the chat. Do you know about any project management tool? Okay, pop it in the chat. Have you heard about any? Have you done any research at all, probably before coming on to this masterclass? Or maybe, I'm sure some of you have obviously been trying to explore this area before, so you may have. So let me know, do you know any tool that a project manager would need to have mastery of when planning and project managing? So I'm just going to show you two. Okay, pop it in the chat. We are almost done, don't worry. So as a project manager, so for us, we have what you call monday.com. That's what we use within Sterling Careers. That's what a PM would need or use to plan, to schedule, to plan all the activities, to monitor, to control, every day as you are, sort of driving that project. So that is one tool that we use. There is Microsoft Project, there's MSS, there is PM.com, there is Smartsheet, there's several tools that you need, so you can write them down and go and do your own research, especially if you're trying to say, okay, what are the tools that I need as a project manager? So I'm just going to, I can't show everything, but let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, what's the time? I think we're doing okay. I can see those messages. I'll pick them in shortly. So first off, I'm going to show you what monday.com. So this is what we use to manage. So once you, let's say for instance, you join as a project manager, this is essentially what, oops, sorry, I think I've closed it, just a minute. What you will have access to. Please let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see my screen? Can you unmute, because I'm on a different screen, so I won't be able to see what you're saying in the chat. So can you see the screen?
Yes. Okay,
so this is Monday. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about it. So we have several workspaces here. We have several projects. So for
this is your desktop though.
Oh, right.
Sorry, your desktop actually.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let me do that again. Yeah. Can't minimize this thing. Okay. Can you see this now? No?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you can see Monday. So as a PM, this is you planning. So these, of course, there are a few projects here I already mentioned. So there is the LMS replatforming. This is like our portfolio view, of course, because we have several projects going on. So the PM in charge of each of these projects, of course, will be keeping this updated. And essentially, we have what we call a PDLC. So it is really the project delivery life cycle. So we've talked about, I think Kush mentioned different stages of that project. So stage one is your brief and proposal, your planning, all the planning activities. For instance, using that example of that office move, if you were to plan this is how you start, creating a project brief, you review the brief with the steering committee. I'm not going to open up everything because, of course, this is what you call it, but let me just give you an idea. So you go planning, and then your design, build, and release, and these are really standard ways of planning. So what you call your work breakdown structure. This is what you call, those of you who know a little bit about project management, your WBS. So when you start, you do a breakdown of that work package that you as a PM will be driving, and you sort of break down. So you probably start with a preliminary project plan, but then as you go along, as you know more, as you engage, either with the stakeholders, as you carry on further analysis and all of that, you then start, fleshing out. So these are different stages. So as a PM, you'll be looking at the timeline. You always update the status of the project. There is the budget side and all of that. So essentially, these are the different projects and different activities that the PM, would have access to in order for them to manage that project. Then there is, of course, the RAID. The RAID is just the risk, assumptions, issues, and dependency log. So as a PM, Kush mentioned some of the reporting documents that you will need or deliverables. So one of it is you have to ensure that you're maintaining that RAID register. All of that you can do within monday.com. So on your own, you can actually go and do a free trial. You can just to play around and say, okay, let me even look at this. Let me even think about a passion project and try to plan it out as a PM. Look at how you put the activities in different stages, budget and resource allocation. So how many people do you need? Business analysts that will be working, because the project manager doesn't function in silos. So you would have a team that will probably comprise of business analysts and maybe PMO, so project support staff, as it were, maybe depending on the actual methodology. So if it's maybe a Scrum or Kanban, you probably have a Scrum Master and all of these other functional areas. And so the PM would obviously be driving all of that. So you now want to be able to plan and account for all those resources and budget. So this is one tool. So go away and have a look at monday.com or pm.com, Microsoft project, project support, projectms.com, and a few other. Smartsheet is one, Lucidchart. There's a lot of tools that you can use to manage your project. So essentially, this is what this is looking like. I'm not giving too much away, but let me see. So there you go. Let me just give you this. So this is SCL Web Revamp. So we're doing a reboot of our current site, and the project is working on this. So this is a PM who's responsible for keeping this updated, and that PM that has been assigned to the project will, of course, be planning all of this. So there's the cost there, there is the time, dependency, if there's any, and we do carrying out, because as a project manager, you need to also be able to present, the status, regular status updates, whether it's weekly, whether it's bi-monthly. It just depends on the governance structure that is within your organization and priority levels. And essentially, this is what your work breakdown structure or your project plan would look like. Okay, so that's just one I was going to show you. So that's one tool that a project manager will need to have in their toolkit. The second one is another tool that we use Confluence by Atlassian. So this one is usually the BAs that kind of, but the PM works across, of course, like I said, the project manager works with, the different team members. So this is also, let me just pick out one of the projects as well. So this is another tool that it would be good for you to actually become familiar with, because most big organizations use Jira, as it were. So that's another thing. Once you know about it and you know how to use it, it goes also on your CV. So these are the different stages that the team have put together: stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your brief and proposal stage, your planning. So all that the project manager had here in that plan, we then will look at the actual artifacts and the detailed analysis which the BAs will obviously carry out, and we document all of that using this tool. And all the team members within these projects actually have access to this, and they are, developing their skills. They are learning how to, use diagramming tools as well, and a lot more that they get. So essentially, I just wanted to give you a little bit behind the scenes of what it looks like. And of course, there's more. We have several other tools and templates that a project manager will have access to. So when you're starting that project, you know where to start out, and we support and we guide you through that. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and I'll take what we have in the chat. We've got 20 minutes to go, which is good. Basecamp, Excel, yes. Trello, good. Smartsheet, yes. Monday. Jira, Visio, MS, yes, that's great. I'm just looking at that now. Yep. So all these tools, if you're a Trello, yes, Trello is one that also we use occasionally. Basecamp, yep. So PowerPoint, SharePoint, yeah. So these, of course, will help you in presenting your updates as a project manager regularly. But for planning, you could use Monday, you could use MS, Microsoft Project, you could use pm.com or Smartsheet for your planning, and Smartsheet is good for scheduling as well. So these are some tools that you want to maybe go and do further research and try to understand how to use them. And also, because I talk about the fact that you can leverage what you currently have. You can actually decide that, okay, I want to plan a project, maybe an event that is happening, and you go through the project delivery or project management life cycle, as it were, from all the different stages, and you document it. Use any of these tools. And do you know that once you've done that, you can put it on your CV as something that you have done? And you can, as long as you can articulate, you can demonstrate that, yes, I've done this before and I can do it. I can apply for this role. I know what to do. Trust me, you will be given you'll be given an opportunity. These days, organizations are not hung up on, oh, you must have this qualification and all of those things. You must have done some very technical projects. No, all they're looking for is, do you have an understanding of these key terminologies and these methodologies and all those things that will obviously demonstrate that you know what you're doing. And if you're able to put all of that together and you're able to put your CV together, there's no reason why you can't start pitching for a project management role. Okay, I think I'm just going to go back to the slide. So we've said all of this to say that we are passionate about helping people to make this transition either into, in this case, project management. And we have an offer for you. Now we are, obviously we've got different courses, as it were, but for today, we are just talking about project management, and we believe that you've joined because you are interested in that. And so I'm going to tell you what you will get if you decide to join us. Trust me, it is going to be worth your while. We bring a lot of value. You get a lot of support. I know there are several organizations out there that do the same thing that we do, but we will tell you why we are different in a minute. So I'm going to go back to sharing our value proposition. Okay, so if you decide to join us, on this journey, one thing that you get is you have access to online tutorials. So we've got what we call an LMS, so that's a learning management system. And in the LMS, you have, I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you have access to our learning management system that has pre-recorded videos, tutorials, a lot of all the training that we do in-house in the academy. We always have it on the LMS. And so it's not a case of, because I know I've had a few people who have come onto our program from other programs, and they said, oh, well, they didn't have something that we could go back on, blah, blah. I'm not going to talk about any other program. But the point here is, this is something we believe helps your learning. Okay, so that, because sometimes you might just not be able to make some of these sessions, but at least you have something to go back on in your own time. You've got 24 hours, 24/7 access to that learning management system, because you would have your account created, you can be listening on your mobile or anything. So you've got access, full access to that for the period that you are on the program with us. Then we also have live sessions, like I already said. So sessions like this, and we go more in depth, of course. We show you how to learn, how to, draw, say for the BAs, how to do data models, business process models, and all of these things we show you. You're having access to these tools, and we go through these live sessions, we record them, and you can go through them again. You have an interview, you can go and play these sessions, again, to refresh your memory. So that's something that we do. So those live sessions are there, and you have access to them. Then we also have a group. So instead of like what you have on WhatsApp, which of course will go once we're done, because this was just for this program, but we've got a group on Telegram. We have almost 40 people. So people, like-minded individuals like yourself, and people are helping each other, people are supporting, and we're cheering each other, and we have a team. So it's just not myself and Kush. We have other people within the team that support each project. And so you're not just left on your own. We have a lot of support. Somebody asked me, why are we unique? And I say it's because of the support that we give you, which you will not find in a lot of these other places. Then we also give you, once you have finished, then you have access to projects. So the 6 months program gives you access to a full project. So you see a project through from beginning to end. And then depending on when you join, we could also give you access to projects that is ongoing, so that you can observe the first 2-3 weeks. Then you are signed onto your project as a project manager, or sometimes we call you the junior PM. So we put an experienced person over you, but then initially you come on as the junior PM. So you're learning the ropes until you are able to drive by yourself. So you have 6 months access to the project, to our learning management system, to our group there. You can ask questions. You have access to our mentors, in-house mentors. Kush happens to be one of them, and we have a few others as well. And we also guide you on what certifications to take. So we say that you don't need to have a certification to start, but we know that it gives you an advantage, and we would guide you to say, right, we have a lot of resources which we'll share with you to say, go have a look, research. This is how you go about booking Prince 2 or any of these certifications that you might be interested in. And of course, you have support, in-house mentors and trainers. I think I already mentioned that. We also have weekly Q&A. So we have a general meeting every Thursday where projects present their updates. We give them feedback. And our mantra is that you learn by doing. So you're learning through, as you're going through the project, it's very hands-on. You're going through these tools, you're actually planning, you're delivering, you're driving the project. And also we give you, of course, feedback. And of course, you can ask questions when you get stuck. So that's essentially what you get, and even more. So there is a lot of templates and tools that you will get if you join us today. So this was just a few opportunities I wanted to put. Now, I just copied this, I think it was only yesterday, just to let you know that this is an evergreen area. Project management will never go away. It will be around forever, because organizations need they have projects, they have opportunities they want to explore, they have different initiatives, they have changes that they want to introduce, and all of that different aspects of their business, and therefore they will need someone to manage that. And so it is going to be around for long. So if you're thinking, okay, is this COVID has hit and it's affected me, I don't want to do care, I don't want to do any of these things anymore, I don't want to do customer service, where can I go? Which career can I explore that will give me long-term potential opportunities? Project management happens to be one of them, and one of the very easy ones to get a route into tech, if that's one area that you're looking for. And look at that, 400 to 450 per day. This was 2 days ago advertised. I just picked it up on Reed. Or a permanent one could be 60, 72K. So it is quite decent, 550 per day. You might say, yes, if I'm only just starting out, can I get it? It just depends on how you can leverage what you have already. And then you layer on what the skills that you get if you join our program. And it's just about packaging. There's no reason why you can't actually. In fact, Helen, I think one of the success stories I showed you, got that, and it was 500, I think it was, day rate. So there are the opportunities, I must say, courses endless. Okay, how do you get a foot in the door? This we already covered. Professional certifications, we talked about Prince 2 because that is I think that's one of the standards within the UK. And I think it's actually acceptable across, so Prince 2, just getting that foundation, and there's a lot out there, you can read up, you can do your research to find out, and you don't have to go and pay for a course. You can self-study. When I did Prince 2, which was quite a few years ago, I must say, I was heavily pregnant, I was at home, but I just got the materials and I started studying at home, and then I booked the exam and I passed it one sitting. So that's something you can start looking at now, whilst you're thinking about developing the relevant skills. You can join a bootcamp like ours to develop relevant skills I already mentioned. You can actually look at internship opportunities. I know the big five, so Google, Facebook, they always have sometimes even paid internship opportunities. So you want to do your research to see what's out there, to say, okay, how can I start picking up the skills to help my confidence, So there is several. And so if you join my challenge, I share different links to different communities that you can actually go on to look at internship opportunities to help you build that skill set. And networking and making connections on LinkedIn, very important. If you're serious about this, you need to be on LinkedIn, you need to be making those connections, you need to be following me, following us, following people that are within that space, so that you can take advantage of these opportunities. Any questions? I've been reeling through before I tell you what the offer is. Now, this offer is the first time we're going to make this, because I know I've had a lot of people saying we want to join, but this and that, and I appreciate that. So our 6 months program, this is the first time that we are actually offering this. And it's going to be for 72 hours only. I know a few of you have already emailed me, and you have booked some slot with me. But I'm going to, Trevor, please drop that in the chat. So for the masterclass offer, for the 6 months program, that's all on offer. We used to have a 4 months program, but we found out that a lot of people were going for that purely because it was cheaper, but we then found that they weren't really ready. So in my opinion, I believe 6 months is good enough for somebody who is starting afresh. So, but of course, that's not to say that we have a few people on the fast track. So they already have some basic foundation. And so they just wanted the experience on our projects. And so they joined, the 4 months fast track. But for beginners, we start with 6 months, purely because we believe that if you're starting afresh, 6 months is a decent enough time for you to pick up relevant skills. And this is based on experience that we've had from several people that have joined our program. And so what we'll be offering you today, everything that I talked about, access to the projects, support from us, helping you with your CV. When you get the calls, we help you with preparing for interviews. You have all the career coaching and working on projects. You also have access to reference. We give references, so whenever anybody gets a job, they share our reference links, and we provide reference only for the period that you have been with us anyway. And that's the offer that we give, and we have a good success rate. I must tell you, like I said, people without any knowledge, when they start, they become experienced in they get the jobs, as it were. So for today, we will be making that offer for 72 hours only. Normally, this offer is usually 1997, but today we will be offering, Trev, can you pop that in the chat? We will be giving you an opportunity to actually get installmental payments instead of 2K. We will be making just for 72 hours. If you pay now, if you pay between 72 hours, and you pay one time 1,050, or if you want to spread it across 6 months, £200 across 6 months. And that is something we've never done before, but we just want to give this opportunity to more people who are interested in getting into this space. And trust me, it will be worth every single penny, because we give you a lot of support. And you'll be amazed at how quickly you become confident and how quickly you're able to pick up the relevant skills. So if you're interested today, click the link in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see. And then if we've got any more questions, please feel free to pop it in the chat box. Let me see any questions. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll take your questions. I think we've done, this is the best we've done. In terms of time, I hope I will get the rest of the details. Sorry, I'm off to work. That's fine, no worries. Okay, so guys, I want to see anybody, let me know in the chat, is this something that is of interest to you? Tell me yes or no. Let's have an idea, and that's the link in the chat for you to take advantage of this opportunity, which closes in 72 hours. At the end, it goes back. One or two of you who have been on our program before, you know that the fee is more than that. But for those that have attended this masterclass, if it's something you want to go for it now. And I think that's about it. So, Coach, do you have any? The training starts on the 11th. That's a good question. I thought I put that there. So if you join us now, the 11th of June is when the next cohort will kick things off. Oh, okay. So can you pop some? He says, Tiny says he was thrown out of the meeting. I'm not sure why. Okay, Daniel, I see you are. So click the link. Trev, can you pop that link again? Daniel is interested. Well done. Tiny says he wants the link. So yes, you start. Well, I have the background, but I just need hands-on experience and mentorship. I would prefer the 4 months program. Okay, Bola, you can. I'm interested. Please pop the link again. Bola, we can DM me if you can, if you want the fast track. Yeah. But we don't take anybody on the fast track. We will have to interview you to see if you can actually manage, because it's very fast paced. Isatu, I see that. Trev, can you pop the link again so you can click on it? So Bola, DM me if you are you on, or maybe are you on the WhatsApp group? Yeah, so we don't accept everybody onto the fast track, because it is really fast, and it is just going to drop you into the project and you have to go hit the ground running. And so we like to interview you first before we give you access to that. So yeah, so just DM me and I will have a call, and I'd like to interview you first. before we admit you onto the fast track. So Isachu, you're interested, great stuff. Tapona, please put, so yes, Bola, okay, good. Yeah, so put the link on. I didn't pay. Okay, the link is on there again, and it will be on the WhatsApp group if you're there. Click the link, and 72 hours, and the offer goes back to 1997. So if you are somebody who wants to do instrumental payments, you can pay 200 per month across 6 months, or if you want to pay one time, is £1,050 for the 6 months program, which you get everything, full access, and we have 6 weeks bonus for career coaching. So your CV writing, your LinkedIn prep, and interview prep, you get that as well if you sign up within the next 72 hours. So you have 6 months plus 6 weeks. That's almost 8 months, really. I don't think you get that anywhere. Okay, so I think we're good. And if there's anything else, please, you know how to reach us. Send your questions. We will send the recording across email, so you can have a look at it again and think through. So thank you very much. Kush, do you want to just give us a final, if you're still on? I know you had to jump off. Hi, Kush. Okay, I think she may have dropped off. That's fine. Right. Okay. So thank you for being here today. I hope you found this useful. Kush, you're here. Hi, Kush. Yeah. Hi. Go on.
No, I just want to say thanks everyone for joining us today. And I really think this program, if you're really serious about a career in tech, in project management, then this is something that will really help you set off. So please do, if you're interested and if you think you can do this, join us, and we are here to help you. We are here to mentor you and help you get that dream job. So thank you very much, everyone, again, for listening to us today. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kush. And you will see, once you join the program, you get more of Kush and other mentors that we have in-house. Okay, so that's it done for this month's masterclass. Thank you for being here. And we look forward to welcoming those of you who have indicated that you're interested. And trust me, it will be worth your while. Thank you very much, and have an amazing rest of the weekend. And God bless. Bye-bye.